everybody. Welcome back to Seller Performance Solutions. I'm here with Rafael Veloz. I said your name correctly, I hope.
You did.
Yes.
You
We were
did.
recently speakers at the Seller Kingdom Conference in Seoul, and we had a chance to talk about all kinds of stuff. And I thought maybe we could have a conversation today about the types of things people need to do in terms of content management, some of the ideas you have that are special and unique for brands that help them max out on their Q4, Black Friday, Cyber Monday sales. So I guess my first question would be, is it 2 or 3 months in advance that you have to line this stuff up? Is it like 6 months? What do you tell people to do to make sure their November is like the peak sales period they expect it to be?
So obviously the more in advance you plan, the better. Depending on the product, I wouldn't recommend doing like a year in advance sometimes in
Mm-hmm.
terms of content because things could change drastically. But if you have something lined up, the better. I think optimal will be between 3 months because unless something major happens, like nothing should change during that time. So
Mm-hmm.
3 months should be enough for a company to go to a company that you tell them like, hey, this is what I want to do. They should be able to do a plan. Even me, but the way we work is we do a strategy plan based on how the culture or depending on your product again, but how the atmosphere or the niche or the category, the marketplace, whatever you want to call it,
Mm-hmm.
is at that moment. We make a plan for it and then we execute. Most likely it's gonna be dependent on the hero image. So we get a lot of click-through rates. And also if your conversion is not that well, at the moment that you're doing the optimization, I would say definitely look into why are you not getting enough buyers, and then
Right.
optimize based on that.
Do people try to work with you like 3 weeks, 4 weeks before to try to change things, or do you just tell them
Oh
it's not the
no.
time to do that?
Yeah, we've had clients that do it 6 months in advance. We have clients who
Mm-hmm.
do it last minute because a lot of clients are like, oh, I forgot about this. Let's do it. So for them, we usually just optimize the first or second hero image, maybe some shots in the commercials that we already have data from them that we already worked in the past before. Those are the return clients. The new clients usually do like 2 or 3 months in advance.
Okay.
And I think the most benefit about this is having that image that stands out because you're already spending money on PPC. Why not make the best out of it? Having that image that stands out and makes them click because you want that click. If nobody clicks on your listing, you're never going to make a sale, right?
It seems like there's a glut of services now saying we'll do videos for you, we'll upgrade your images, partially because the competition is so fierce
Yeah.
that brands recognize the need more and they're willing to pay, I think, earlier now. They realize they have to do this stuff to compete. Are you you're spending a lot more time on video, I would assume, these days with the rise of A+ content and the importance of differentiation?
That's such a good question, man. That's such a compound question, such a good question. So, based on the new advances, technological advances of Amazon with Ruffles and Cosmos and all this, a lot has been. Actually, there was an article that came out not too long ago from Kevin King. Well, Kevin King sent it, but it was an article by Dan McMillan and I forgot the other person's name that analyzed how the algorithm was thinking now
Right,
or was analyzing and ranking. And if there's a huge debate on that, so I'm not going to
right,
go with.
right.
But what I've seen the results so far, I actually talked about this in the conference in Seoul, South Korea.
Mm-hmm.
The more people interact with the content and the more the people find the content within the listing to their liking and they can relate to it and they find it valuable, the more they're going to convert. We just took a client from 400 or 500 a month average to over 800 a month. We didn't change anything. We didn't change PPC. We didn't change the copywriting. We just changed how the product was presented to the users and how we told the story. That we did change. And because of that, we increased big time. So how we use the tools, obviously, we started using
Right.
A+ content premium, but more interactive. We did a lot of different things that it'll take an hour to explain, but
Well, I'm
it
just
has
curious,
changed.
did they
Yeah.
have somebody that was doing subpar work for them? You don't have to get into too many details, and they swapped them out for you, or were they just not doing any of these things because it was an oversight on their part?
Oh man, the most important thing here, I'm not gonna go into that as well because then controversy and all that fun stuff. But
We
what I
love
will tell you is
controversy. You gotta hang out on
click
this podcast more.
clickbait,
We love that stuff.
clickbait, some clickbait stuff.
No,
No,
not
because this
clickbait.
company.
Yeah, yeah. Controversy
Um,
is okay as long as it's fact
okay,
driven and yeah, data
sure.
driven. So
I'll give a little bit of controversy. It's not about the content; it's about who's creating the content. Because expertise, for example, I sent 2 or 3 referrals to a client of mine that had a problem. But the person who ended up solving that problem was you because you had the expertise.
Right.
But I also sent it to other two companies and they couldn't solve it. But
Right.
why did you solve it? Because you have the knowledge. So it's the same thing in our end. I've had clients, I actually had a client right now who sells a specific product and sell which product. And they went with one of my competitors.
Mhm.
And that was like 5 months ago. They rescheduled me back. They're like, hey, dude, my PPC, my return, my A cost was 120. I got it down to 100. Now it's 90. A cost at 90. I was
Yep.
like, that's crazy. And
Yeah.
then the dude is like, my return on ad spend is 1.14. I was like, brother, you're losing so much money. So now he has to spend more money on top to use my services. And the most funny thing is that the listing reference that he sent me is one of my clients. So he's using my content as a reference to where he wants to get at. And I'm not using this to boast. It's just what's happening. So the most important thing, whichever company you guys work with, use me, whoever, have a detailed plan. Think as marketers before you execute. This is
Strategy.
what they would.
We're
Yeah.
always, yeah, we're always telling
Yes.
people like, you don't have to hire us, but have a bona fide, tried and tested, relevant to your situation strategy.
Like this guy, like my client, he was using another company, and he spent like a week, I think, trying to solve this problem. I was like, dude, just use Chris, bro, and you solved it like in 3 days. No, no,
It took us a
honestly,
few days. Yeah.
yeah, I'm not
Yep.
trying to kiss ass here, but it's
Right,
honestly,
right,
you
right.
solved it in
No,
three
thank you.
days. Something that they try to do for 2 weeks, and you solved it in
Yeah.
3 days. Like,
Yeah.
there you go. You always get what you pay for. That's
Hmm.
my granny always told me that. She's completely right, man. The other thing is, one thing that was with this specific client, I just had a call like an hour ago. I asked him, like, how did this other company work? He's like, no, I just sent them the product and they just did whatever. So they didn't give you a plan. They didn't show you anything. They didn't talk you through what strategies they should be using. They didn't think of your PPC. They're like, no. So what we do here is like, at least we think of your PPC. We meet with your PPC partner or the agency who's doing your PPC. And we're like, okay, based on this, we're going to do this. Oh, okay, let me
Yeah.
help you because we have to support the PPC. That's where a lot of the people burn cash. That's why you're actually spending some money there. I hope that answers your question. It was a long
Yeah. I mean,
question.
they could be using, no, it does. They could be using that money elsewhere. This isn't the
Yes,
time. I mean, fees are up, ads cost
big time,
more. This isn't the time to be like wasting cash you could be devoting elsewhere in your business.
big
And
time,
so I'm
big time.
hoping brand owners understand that efficiency matters, strategy matters, and just having the plan that you described. Because for something entirely different, I have those conversations almost every day too, where I come away from maybe the call or whatever thinking, I don't get it. What was the plan? Maybe there was no plan, or
Yeah.
maybe there was a plan, but it was deficient. So, how much
So
is going into strategy? I mean, you see it differently in your world.
it's like if you don't have a plan, you're planning to fail type of situation always. So make sure that you do have a plan for everything, even for solving problems internally, for disputes with Amazon, have a plan. If you're planning to launch, have a plan to launch, right? If you're doing
Mhm.
PPC, have a plan for PPC. And especially for content, we have to remember that yes, ranking matters and all these things matter, but and pricing matters, reviews matters, but perceived quality is very important. At the
Mhm.
end of the day, a human being is the one who's going to buy this product. And if a human being is going to buy this product, you have to literally manipulate this human being to thinking that your product is better than competition based on reviews, pricing, quality, perceived quality. Maybe your product is made in the US and that's your marketing advantage. So make sure that whatever it is that you're doing, strategy, even if it's competing on pricing, which I don't recommend, but even
Right.
if it's competing on pricing, making sure that you're literally manipulating this human to thinking that your product is worth spending that money on. It's true. That's just how marketing is.
Yeah,
Remember that
of course.
marketing plan in the 80s where you show a really hot girl with a really hot car? They don't use that type of marketing
Oh,
anymore.
people still do that, I think.
Really? No. No, no.
I still see the YouTubers and the seller
YouTube.
advice gurus with the cars. I don't know if they hire models to jump in or not. That is still a thing. Uh,
So mainstream
maybe.
brands don't use that anymore, but now the YouTube gurus or whoever gurus in general
Right.
use that. Hot cars like, oh, have this life. If you follow my course or you do this, you're gonna have this car type of situation. That's marketing 101. You're
Hmm.
manipulating people to think that if you do this, you'll gain this. This literally manipulation. So obviously there's honest manipulation, better or decent or valuable, whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, you try to make people think. that this is going to happen if you do this. So make sure that you're doing it, obviously the ethical way, but either way, you have to do it
It
for
it
people to
costs you
buy
in
your
the long
product.
run. Yeah, doing
Yes,
it using little tricks and hacks and expecting to survive long term on that, it costs you in the long run. Do you ever do
yeah,
like a post Black Friday, Cyber Monday, or a post Q4, like post mortem? Like, could we have done it differently? Could we have done something else? If a brand, let's just say they're like, oh, I thought we were going to sell. I mean, everyone wants to sell more than they sell, right? Even if they have a great Christmas. Do they ever say, I could have doubled this or tripled this? What could we have done differently? Do you have those conversations with people after November, December? Or do you just kind of focus on
that's
the new year?
that's a beautiful question. And the way we do it, and honestly, we only do it with higher tier clients. I don't want to mitigate anybody
Right.
thinking that they're not higher tier. Everybody's valuable in the world, but some people are willing to spend more than others. That does take time. So we do it. So for example, this client that we took from 500 to 800K a month, every week we go into their listing and we analyze what's going on, what we could do better. How can we increase the click through rate at least by a 0.2%? How can we increase the conversion rate by a little percentage, at least something? Because obviously, every little percentage is thousands of dollars. So, especially after those peak seasons, we go inside, or even before, like what's going on?
Mhm.
Are we getting more impression, getting less impression? What's the competition doing? What are they doing? So that constant strategizing, obviously, that takes time, manpower, women power, human power in general, and takes a lot of creative juice. And based on the experience, yeah, we told them like, hey, we think we should do this. We think we should do something else, or like maybe we could do this instead of we did this for Halloween and it didn't work out as we expected. Maybe we can do this for Christmas. Marketing, something very important for marketing is that in marketing, 1 plus 1 does not always equal 2. Is we think is going to equal 2, and hopefully, based on the strategy, is going to equal 2. Right. So it's always that testing optimization, testing
Right.
optimization. That's just how
Right.
marketing is, unfortunately.
What are the common misconceptions you have to deal with? Do people come to you and say, I saw a video online, I saw these posts by some other people? Do you
Oh, I
have to
got a good
like,
one.
do you have to teach them to unlearn things, or are they just
Yeah.
throwing other
Yeah.
people's ideas at you? What are the biggest misconceptions you face?
So
Mm.
my background is filmmaking and advertising.
Mhm.
And in 2009, I quit law school after 3 years so
Yeah.
I can focus on. Yeah, I was doing law back in Venezuela. I'm from Venezuela. And in 2009, I did my first professional music video. I had a crew of 20 people, so that's where it all blew up. In 2012, I got into advertising, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, all these other things, right? Google ads. So one thing that I get into a lot is that people, for example, this is just one thing out of many. People use the same video for everything, for everything. The same video for sponsored display ads, the same video for sponsored brand ads videos, for sponsored TV, for listing videos, for the premium plus content video, for UGC video, for the same video for everything. One video can work for two things, but video placement or advertisement placement, it's very important to have the mindset of where this is gonna be displayed at. Imagine if
Yeah.
you ran a as seen on TV video in a Super Bowl commercial spot. It's not gonna work that much. A Super Bowl commercial spot, it's worth thousands of dollars for a reason. Some people are gonna say, yeah, but Kanye's West video did really well. Yes, it's Kanye West. You are not Kanye West. Like Kanye West is a hate him, like him, I don't care. But
He's
he's
well
a
known.
dominant figure,
Yeah.
right? He's very controversial. So whatever he does is gonna work. You are hire Kanye West. To hire Kanye West for that, it's gonna cost you millions of dollars.
Right.
So advertisement placement is very important. A video that's meant for PPC to drive traffic is completely different for a video that's in for the listing that's designed to convert. And the video in the listing carousel images, it's difficult, should be completely different as well as the video that's in the premium plus content video, and the premium that's and the video that's within the Amazon store should be different from the
Right.
video and from all the rest. So that right there, it's a big, like, I've seen that so many times. I'm like, guys, that's why you're not getting a good click through rate, because this video is not meant for this. It sucks. It kind
Yeah.
of
Do you
sucks.
have a hard time? Do you have a hard time convincing people to change
Yeah,
strategies? Do they
100%.
do they just talk about how much they've invested on a previous strategy and they want to see it through, quote unquote?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
had, actually, this is so interesting. Like, that mindset. That's crazy that you nailed it. Well, you hit it right on the head of the nail. I've had clients who were like, okay, what if you do it for free? And then if it works, we'll pay you. I was like,
Yeah.
No. Like, do you ever go to a restaurant and you eat, you're like, oh, this wasn't good. I won't pay. Like maybe they'll give you a discount, but most likely they'll still charge you.
Yeah.
And one thing that I've seen, but I actually like, I took a risk with one of my clients. I was like, you know what? Let's do a break or let's do a performance based. But again, I know I'm gonna reach it, but you have to pay like 4 times as more. Are you willing to do that? Like, yes, okay, let's do it. So I did that with one of my clients. That actually ended up being a very, very good deal. But I do have a very hard time because the thing is, we call it spoiled. You know how a kid, you give candy to a kid, and then when you don't, when you take away the kid's gotta be all, I want the candy. So Amazon basically spoiled a lot of Amazon sellers because
Yeah.
in 2015, you put anything up and that would sell like hotcakes, right?
Yeah.
But now, because it's gotten so competitive and it has gotten so expensive, now you actually have to start doing advertising. That's why Amazon launched all these other new services, such as sponsored TV, etc. Right? So because of that, now people have to they don't get the candy anymore. Now you have
Yeah.
to actually have to start investing. So I've
Yeah.
had a very hard time. But once I do convince them, it works marvelous, like marvelous. Like we've gotten so many good deals. For example, um, one thing that I recently did is I was working with Vincenzo from Comsi, and we were
Mhm.
optimizing a client's listing based on his PPC strategy. Dude, that was amazing. We got such a high revenues for this client. So yeah, data and analyzing, having a plan does work, and having a good PPC person also works. That we have to
Yeah.
work hand in hand with them a lot of
In
time.
tandem. Yeah. So, like you mentioned, I'm starting a new video series with agency owners. It'll be coming out and announced in a bit. But for
Okay.
today, and we'll continue some of this conversation there. But for today, any last thoughts in terms of finishing the year strong, planning for January, February 2025? Any last words of wisdom you'd like to give our podcast listeners?
Okay, yeah, I was talking yesterday with a friend. Um, Ranking is very important, but if you're top of rank, and that's great, either way, you have competitors next to you. So make sure that you're testing out as much as you can. Make sure you're testing out as much as you can the hero image. We use Pixel. We use Pixel
Hmm.
at Share Studio. So what we do is that we test out the competitors' hero images first. We put them against each other. Once we get that data back, then we'll think a strategy for ours. Then we create 5 of our own hero images. Then we test out our hero images. Then we get the top 2 winners, and then we put it against the other 2 top winners of the competition. So at the
Hmm.
end of the day, you should be doing at least 3 demographic-based tests, and you should be doing 5 images at least minimum. So from there is that you should have a winning image, and on top of that, you should be A/B testing that image within Amazon experiments. It's a very long process, but if that can increase your click through rate by at least 1%, that's a lot, man. That could be thousands of dollars literally. So you
Yeah.
could be spending 2,000 grand, $2,000 within image testing, optimizing that hero image. But if it can make you $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, why not do it?
Then it's worth it. So
That's it.
where can you tell people to reach you if they have questions on
Oh
anything we
yeah,
talked about today? Best place.
yeah. Yeah. Reach out to shareitstudio.com. Just go there. It's like you share something on social media. That's
Mhm.
where actually the name came from. Because once you
Okay.
create content so good that's shareable. So
Mhm.
shareitstudio.com. There you can find my email, schedule a call. And if you tell us you come from Chris, you're gonna get a 15 to 20 or 30% discount automatically. So make sure you come from Ecom Chris. Um, yeah. The no, I'm not gonna say because it's an internal joke where we went to the border between North and South Korea.
The
That was a
DMZ.
good trip.
Yeah, the DMZ.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was a good trip that we took.
Definitely an
Man,
interesting day trip.
it
Different
was.
from what we were doing in Seoul, talking to different brand owners, which was great,
It's a
but it was a
good
good
day,
break from
man.
the city. Yeah. Yeah.
It was a
All right.
good
Thanks
trip.
again, Rafael Veloz, for joining us, answering my
Man,
questions. I'm sure we'll see you again on the podcast, and I'll hook up with you for the video series a bit later on. Have a good one. Thanks everyone
yes.
for listening to Sell Performance Solutions. We'll be back next week.